Today I'm going to show you how to change this to this. Welcome to Tomahawk DIY, everyone. I'm Mike. Let's take a look at how I'm installing some beadboard on this wall. Now you can see we've already painted the upper half, which will give us this nice color with the white beadboard down below. Now in preparation, we've turned off power. You want to make sure you're being safe. And we've removed the cover plate, unscrewed this electrical outlet to help. We've also got our board cut to length, to the length we want. The trim that goes on top has about 3/4 of an inch play in it, so they don't have to be perfect height, but you do want to keep them fairly similar. Now these are 7-inch wide strips. This product can also come in full, much larger sheets as well. So there's, and that can make installation easier in some cases. They have tongue and groove fitting that just snaps together right along here. We're going to think about our layout here. You can see on this wall, it's already been installed. We're going to be using quarter round in the corners here. And as I mentioned, we're going to be using some trim that runs along the top. So I'm going to be installing from this side down to that corner. Our first piece that goes in, we'll be leaving a little bit of a gap here. The quarter round is going to come in, fill it. That'll also give any room if there's some expansion that's going to happen, things like that. Alright, so I've got my brad nailer here. Now this is a pretty light gauge. It uses 18 gauge. This uses 18 gauge brads. We're using 1 inch, 1 1/4 inches. So that's going to go through the trim, through a 1/2 inch of drywall, and leave about, about 1/2 inch to 3 to 5/8 inch going into the studs in the wall. But really, glue is going to be the key thing to hold it down. So, as with any tools, make sure you know how to use it. Follow safety precautions. Don't do anything stupid. You can really hurt yourself. You can shoot one of these things through you. So this is demonstration purposes only. You're responsible for whatever you do, and make sure you're doing things safely. So I've tuned this already. I'm going to double check my depth on it. Make sure it's going into the wood all the way so that we can fill the hole in, make the nail holes, the brad holes disappear. So this looks pretty good. It's got a little bit of depth to it. I could take and feel in there with a pencil or another brad or something to get an understanding of the depth, but this has already been tuned in, so we're ready to go. Now on our first board here, I'm using some panel board adhesive. So this is for wood and foam molding adhesive, liquid nails. We're just going to apply it liberally on the board here. This is really what's going to keep this stuff up. The brads go on the wall just to help tack it in place while this dries. Right, so we've got the adhesive on here. I'm going to make sure I'm putting my tongue side down the wall. You can go both directions on this, but that's the way I'm going to be going, with the tongue side sticking out. We're going to line it up. Again, leaving a little space. Not too much, but leaving a little bit here against the wall. I'm going to check to be sure I've got it nice and plumb. Okay, and we're looking pretty good. Okay, we've got this one up. Seems to have held pretty plumb. My level's looking good. So now we'll just start running down this wall. Now let me show you how the groove part right here will tie into the tongue part right there. Here's a tongue on the same board. So just slot in. They can be a little bit tricky to put in place. I found that it can be helpful to kind of start up at one end like this, and then just work your way down. Make sure it's nice and flush. Make sure it's nice and flush this way. And I'm going to push it down so I'm in place. And we'll nail it in place. Now, it's ideal to try and hit studs on the wall, so you can be checking for where the studs are to shoot your nail gun in. Again, the brads are just holding this thing in place, tacking in place while the glue dries. So you can also kind of angle them in a bit when you're not hitting a stud. Now let's check how we're doing. Okay, seems to be holding pretty good. Because I'm working in an existing room, we've got existing baseboards, existing carpet. Ideally, I ought to be pulling this baseboard off here. We've decided to leave the baseboard on, set the beadboard on top, and just caulk along the top edge there as we paint everything. Okay, we've come to our junction box here with this outlet. Again, you want to work on this when the power's turned off, so you're not running the risk of shock. With the spacing here, we're going to have to cut an entire square out of our board. So there's a few different ways to go about doing this. You can see it will sit something like that. I've seen some folks that will color the edges of this with a chalk or something to kind of mark up the outlet. They leave this screwed in place and then press the board on it. That can give an impression. I struggle a little bit to get that to work really well, so I'm just going to take some measurements to get my box in the right spot. Okay, so first I'm going to establish my height from the bottom, and we're at 6.5 inches. Now you can get right up pretty close to your outlet here, so I'm going to go a little over 6.5, 6 5/8. And we're going to come over here. Now, because of the tongue and groove, I want to be sure I'm measuring from where it will rest after the tongue and groove are in place. And so just shy of 1 inch. Then down here, I've got to be coming off my groove side. Alright, so I've just established this corner. I'm going to double check that. Remember, measure twice, cut once. Okay, that looks pretty good. So having established my corner here, I can measure that junction box. It's also easy if you've got extra junction box to just kind of take it and use it as a template. Okay, we got the corners of our box marked out here. I'm gonna eyeball this a bit, see how it looks. Seems to be pretty good. Now I've put some blue tape where I should be ending up cutting around from the back of the mark that's been scribed on the back here. I'm gonna be using these Irwin speed tip bits. I got these about a year ago and have just really liked them. They're great, they pull right through, really good for going through 2x4s and studs and things like that. Use a 1/2 inch size to go through this. Now, I could go through on this side to help minimize my spalding or splaying of the painted finish here, the primed finish I should say. I'm going to be coming through from the other side, try to minimize that with the blue tape being down here. And with the tips of these, they're sticking out a little bit there, you can see the points. So we'll take it slow, see how it does. And that's because I've got the lines on here. Okay, looks like they came out pretty clean here. Then I'll be using my jigsaw to cut up through here. This is a jigsaw that I inherited from my grandfather when he passed away. It's been around for a long time. Heavy duty metal. See, it's got that craftsman name still on there. Still works decently. Alright, we're inserting the blade through the hole here. We'll follow the line along. This is a blade that will cut upward, so that should help limit the amount of spalding we get on the white primed surface. Alright, there we go. Let's see how this thing fits. We're just going to line up the way the board will sit when all is said and done. Let's get this thing glued and put in place. I'll take my tape off a bit carefully. Okay, we put our adhesive on. We get our power out. And get the tongue and groove together. Now, where we've got a wire here, we want to be really careful that we're not putting brads into the wire, so know which side your 2x4 is on, and plan accordingly as you shoot your brads in. Okay, now we're going to get our outlet put back in place. If you find your screws are too short, like these ones were, you may have to get some longer screws in order to get this outlet put back in place. There we go. Alright, so as we tighten this down, notice that the ears of the outlet are sticking over the beadboard. That keeps the outlet from squishing into the wall. So again, that comes back to the size that you cut this beadboard. Now, you want to follow electrical codes. For example, I believe we should actually be putting a plastic ring in here around this junction box to make sure it's fully code compliant. Again, this video is just demonstration purposes. You're on your own as far as meeting your local codes and being sure things are done in a safe manner. With that in place, we can put this cover back on. Now obviously, when painting the wall, you're going to have this cover off. But just so we can use the outlet and have the power on, I put the cover in place like this. Okay, now we can get the rest of these put on. We'll just continue going down the wall until we get. We'll continue going down the wall until we get to the end and take a look at what we need to do there. Now that we've come to the end here, you can see we've got a little bit of trimming to do. So to help get this into the wall right, especially if the wall angle might not be perfectly square, I'm just going to turn this board around. I'm going to tuck it into the corner. Okay, so I'm leaving a little bit of a gap here, not too much. The quarter round will cover it nicely. And then I've turned this board around so I can just simply mark where I want to cut. So I'm checking the board behind the tongue and making my mark right there. That's So we're going to cut. I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. Now by taking this measurement at both the top and the bottom, I'm accounting for any variations in the wall. Now I'm going to line my straight edge up here between my two marks, and that gives me a line to cut. I want to put some painter's tape down. There we go. Now I really should ideally be using a table saw to cut along the line here. I don't have a table saw handy, so I'm going to be using a circular saw, and that should get me there reasonably well. Alright, let's check the fit of this. And there, it looks pretty good. I still have my slight gap there. Go ahead and remove our tape. Alright, we're going to get this last piece put in place. Slide it back into the corner. And get the tongue and groove in place. Push it down. I've got just a little bit of adhesive I'm going to need to clean off up here, so don't miss that. Well, I hope you found that helpful. We got the beadboard put up, trim on, filled our nail holes. We're ready to paint. So thanks so much for watching Tomahawk DIY. If this was helpful to you, I certainly appreciate donations and tips. You can send those to me through PayPal or Venmo. Also, I'll include some links in the description of different products, things that were used. Those are affiliate links, which sends a small commission to Tomahawk DIY. Funds that get sent towards Tomahawk DIY go to help support the mission of Tomahawk DIY, which helps people in some of Earth's most dire circumstances build better lives. That's folks that may not have clean water, may be in extreme poverty, may be suffering from child slavery, refugee type situations. So certainly appreciate you liking, subscribing, and hope you have a great day.